gosh, it's crazy to think that just a few weeks ago I was actually walking on this water. It was all frozen over. It's been a beautiful February day here in Stockholm, Sweden. We've had crystal clear blue skies and the weather's been warming up a little bit. Most of the snow is now melted and some people are even thinking, hey, maybe spring is just around the corner. But I know we still have all of February and March to get through before we start to get our hopes up, because I was thinking the same thing last year, and then like 2 weeks later we had one of the biggest snowstorms of the entire year. So don't get your hopes up yet, but it is nice to be enjoying some nice weather in February and some sunshine, because that isn't super common here in Sweden. But with that being said, in this video you can see that I'm in front of the Swedish Capitol building, and so I want to talk about some law changes that are going into effect in Sweden in 2019. And as an American, we have different laws where I come from, so it's interesting to take note of some of the laws that are changing here in Sweden, and I'll give you my opinions on whether or not I think those are good changes, bad changes, or maybe it doesn't really matter to me. Oh hey, didn't see you there. I'm just watching some TV. Did you know that in Sweden they used to have a TV tax where people would actually call you, or in some cases even show up at your door to see if you have a TV at your house? Well, they're kind of doing away with that. They used to have a special tax just for the people that would have TV screens in their home, but now they're just doing a blanket tax for everybody. And I actually think that that is a very good thing, because in this day and age, almost everyone is connected in some way, whether it's to the internet, to their phone, to their TV, whatever it is. So it makes more sense that that tax would just be included in the general income tax rather than having an extra separate bill to worry about. I need to brush after those cheese puffs. The second law change, and I think this is a really good thing, is that now free dental care will be offered a little bit longer in Sweden. It used to be up until the age of 19, you would be covered to get free dental care in the health system that they have here in Sweden, and they're extending that now to the age of 23. So if you're between the ages of 19 and 23, this is really good news for you. And I feel like in general, people in America go to the dentist a little bit more than here in Sweden, because I went my whole life never going more than 6 months without seeing the dentist. We would have checkups every 6 months. I was covered under my parents' insurance because they were teachers, and I'm actually covered until the age of 26. But it seems like in general people go to the dentist more in America than they do in Europe. And I don't know if that's because there could be more sugar in the food in America or whatever it is, or maybe just dentistry in general isn't valued as highly here in Europe. But I actually talked about this with my dentist last time I was in America, and they thought that that was very interesting as well. One of the best parts about living in Sweden is how fresh the air is here. They're known for having a really good crisp air quality, and this next law is just going to make it even a little bit more fresh, because they're actually going to do away with smoking in public places as of July 1st. And this has already kind of been a thing in America for a long time. You've never been able to like smoke in restaurants and stuff like that. And as somebody that doesn't smoke tobacco, I think that's a really good thing for the health of everybody. And actually in Europe, I feel like smoking is just a little bit more common than in America. It's kind of like stigmatized as like this really bad thing in America, whereas it's just a little bit more accepted here in Europe. But I think for somebody that really values their health and the fresh air, I think this law change is a good thing. So there was one law that they actually thought about changing and then ended up switching it back to what it was before because the budget got approved, but that was access to some of the government museums and stuff are actually going to stay free. Originally they were going to make it so that all museums you'd have to pay for, but I think this is a really good thing, that there's going to still be a lot of museums available for people that want to go and don't have to necessarily spend money, so the government's subsidizing that. I think that's really good. In America it's a little bit less common, but I'm standing looking behind me is the island of Djurgården, and you can see these two museums right here are really cool. That's the National Museum, and this is right here it's like this giant boat. You do actually have to pay to go to the giant boat, the Vasa Museum, but it's one of the most visited museums in all of Scandinavia. I highly recommend going. It's really cool. It's basically this boat that sunk like 300 years ago and it was at the bottom of the ocean, and they actually recovered this boat and now you can go see it. It's really cool, and it gives you kind of a flashback of the time period. You do have to pay for those ones, but if you do come to Stockholm, I highly recommend checking it out. All right, guys, home at last. This last one I'm gonna talk about, this last law change, has to do with sick leave. Now, before in Sweden, when you were sick, you might not have been able to take sick leave for your first day of being sick. And now, basically, I think they're kind of doing away with that from what I understand, so that you can get 80% of your actual salary for all of the days that you are sick. So I think that's also a good thing, because for shift workers, for example, if they're working like an extremely long hour day, when they get sick, they would be missing out on a lot of money if that was like their first day of being sick. But now with this new rule, they'll be able to at least get 80% of that, so that they're not going to take a huge hit on their paycheck if they're sick for like one day on a day where they work a lot of hours. So overall, I think all of the law changes in Sweden going for 2019 are actually pretty good. I think that I have a positive reaction to pretty much all of them. I don't think any of these are like extremely controversial or whatever, but if you guys disagree, leave some comments down below and educate me. Maybe there's some things that I've been missing out on as I've been looking through these law changes. But also, if you guys want some more info and where I've been getting all this info, I'll link the local article down in the description. If you guys are English speakers that want to keep up with news that's going on in Sweden, the local is a great resource to kind of keep track of the news and what's going on. So there are some additional law changes that I didn't mention in this video, but you can find those on the local article in the description. But with that being said, guys, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you have not done so already. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will see you guys in the next video.